We are in Luzern, Switzerland, and today I am taking you inside a Victorinox store. Watches, kitchen knives, travel gears, and of course the Swiss Army knife in every configuration imaginable displayed on the walls. And here we are on a mission because my husband asked us for a very particular Victorinox tool and we bought a few things. But before I show you what, I want to tell you the story of what you're actually holding when you pick up a Victorinox product, because Victorinox is one of the most interesting cases I have looked at. Let me start at the beginning here. The year is 1884. Switzerland is one of the poorest nations in Europe. Hard to believe nowadays, yeah? Young men from the canton of Schweiz are immigrating in significant numbers to North America, to Australia, to New Zealand because there's simply no work at home. And at 23 years old, a knife maker named Karl Elsener comes back to his home village of Ibach after completing his apprenticeship and his journeyman across Europe. And he makes a decision that very few people would make in that moment. Instead of immigrating himself, instead of taking his skills abroad, where they would be better compensated, he opens a small cutlery shop in Ibach with a water well powered by the river to drive his sharpening and polishing machines, with the active support of his mother, Victoria. And his motivation here was not profit, it was to create employment, to give the young men of Schweiz a reason to stay. And that decision by one man in a small village in 1884 is why the Swiss Army knife exists today. And 7 years after the opening in 1891, Elsener approached the Swiss government with a proposal to actually made a standard issue soldier's knife that the soldiers needed, being a multi-tool with a blade, a screwdriver, a can opener. And until that point, the soldiers' knives had been made in Solingen, Germany. So Elsener argued that they should be made in Switzerland by Swiss workers paid Swiss wages. And he won the contract. And then he nearly lost the company trying to keep it up, competing with a larger one in Germany. But because he believed the principle mattered more than the margin, he kept going, even with a severe financial loss. 6 years later, he invented a new folding mechanism that allowed him to add more tools on both sides of the knife without adding weight. He called it the officer's sports knife. It was slimmer, more elegant, more useful. But the Swiss government never actually ordered this model for the officers, but the name stuck. And American soldiers stationed in Europe after the Second World War found that the official name, the Schweizer Officers Messer in German, was impossible to pronounce. And they started calling it the Swiss Army knife. And that name spread across the English speaking world and never came back. Today, that same knife in every 100 variations is made in Ibach at a rate of 45,000 units per day. Every single one. Now the name. Victorinox, it has two parts, and it tells you something about the company's value here. Victoria was Karl Elsener's mother, the one who supported him through all this endeavor when the company was not doing good. After she died in 1909, he named the company after her, Victoria. And then inox comes from the French. It means stainless steel. So when stainless steel was invented in 1921, it transformed the cutlery industry. And then at that time, it was Elsener's son, Karl, who decided the company name could be changed, adding Victoria and inox, becoming Victorinox, a name that honored a mother and an innovation simultaneously. And the last piece here, the Swiss cross, it was added in 1909 to distinguish the knives from German imitation that had begun to appear. So now it's a registered trademark in over 121 countries. A name, an emblem, and a story. All of them more than a century old. And all of them still on every product in this store. Let me give you a few numbers now as we walk through the stores. You've seen the luggages, the watches, now the kitchen knives. 45,000 pocket knives made every single day, all of them in Ibach, Switzerland. 90% exported to over 100 countries worldwide. The factory in Ibach produces knives from a proprietary blend of French and German steels, and every blade goes through the world's first all-electric hardening plant installed in 1931, almost 100 years ago. And that guarantees consistent quality across every unit produced. And quality here for Victorinox is what matters the most. When it developed its inox watch, the team sacrificed 421 prototypes over 6 months to make sure it passed 130 separate resistance tests. And these tests are the ones made by the US Army to manufacture missiles. No kidding. I mean, running them over I don't know how many ton tanks, exposure to sulfuric and nitric acid, temperature variation from -37 to +71 degrees Celsius, completely not. 421 prototypes destroyed before a single watch was sold. And that is not marketing. This is engineering discipline. And it explains why a Victorinox kitchen knife feels the way it feels in your hand, like something that was built to last rather than built to a price point. We've had several of these knives for over 10 years, and they have not changed. They don't age. They're still as good, as sharp as on day one. And this here, what you saw, was the tool that my husband wanted. So, yes, I had a picture and I tried to match it with the picture, and I think that was it. And surprisingly, because I bought it before the girls were born, so that's over 12 years ago, it barely increased in price. I remember paying about 150 euros for it, and now what is it? 175. I mean, compared to maybe 65, compared to inflation nowadays, prices in Switzerland are pretty stable compared to what we have here in Americas, for instance. And something that surprised me when I researched Victorinox is the company's structure. It is owned by a foundation, not by shareholders, not by a private equity firm, not a publicly traded company that has to report quarterly earnings. No, it is a foundation that holds 90% of the share capital. The remaining 10% belongs to the Karl and Elise Elsener Gut Foundation, so it's a not for profit. And the foundation's stated purpose is to guarantee long term employment and maintain financial independence. So the Elsener family retains the management, and it's currently in its fourth generation, with Karl Elsener the fourth as a CEO, but the capital structure is designed specifically to prevent the company from being sold, merged, or restructured for short-term gain. And think about what it means in practice. When a financial crisis like 2008 hit and the orders collapsed, Victorinox did not lay off a single worker. They reduced hours, they retrained staff, they absorbed the loss because the foundation structure allowed them to think in decades rather than in quarters. And this is not capitalism as it is usually practiced. It is something closer to the Swiss model of stakeholder business. The idea that a company has obligations to its workers, its community, and its region that are at least as important as its obligation to capital. So when Karl Elsener opened his workshop in 1884 to give the young men of Schweiz a reason to stay, 140 years later, the foundation structure ensures his successors cannot undo that decision for profit. One more detail here, because I think it belongs to the story. The heat generated by Victorinox production machinery in Ibach is captured and used to heat the factory itself and more than 120 nearby homes. And it gets pretty cold in the winter in Switzerland. So this is not a marketing initiative. It's a basic engineering decision about not wasting what you have already paid to generate. So all waste materials are recycled. The products are designed to be fully recyclable, and the company has held environmental certification continuously for decades. So this is a knife factory in a small village in Switzerland that heats its neighbor's home with its own waste heat. I find it difficult to imagine that conversation happening in most places. But in Ibach, it was apparently just the sensible things to do. We bought a few things in that store. Look at the bag. My daughters each got one of these small army knife. I got my husband's the tool he wanted, and myself I got one of the classic red knife with the cross. So very happy with the purchase here. I love the brand, what it represents, and I keep thinking about the question I ask a lot on this channel. What does it cost to make things properly, and what does it cost not to? I hope you enjoyed the tour of Victorinox. This is such a brand, not cheap but excellent quality. So we've had these knives for years. They last, the ones in the kitchen, you spend €6, they last years. You didn't, I mean, they're still as sharp as the first day. It's definitely, we love the brand. If you have it, please let me know in the comments below what kind of knife. Do you like it? How long have you had it for? Thank you all for watching. À bientôt. And if you want to see more of Switzerland, make sure you subscribe to this channel, hit the bell button so that you are notified when I post the next video here. We still have a lot to explore and some more shopping to do when I show you what it actually costs to eat in Switzerland, to grocery shop, to visit, or even to buy some luxury products. So stick with me here, more to learn on this beautiful country. And yes, the Swiss Army knives are everywhere. That includes when you go up in the ice cave of the Mount Titlis. Thank you all for watching. Be safe out there.